So let's begin by paying homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham saranam gacchami. So welcome, dear community. Today we will be continuing on with our reading, our study, our Dhamma exploration of the Chan teachings, or the Sudden Awakening School, specifically from the Chinese Chan patriarch Huangbo, the recorded records of the dialogues between him and Peizong, I think it is, and Huangbo, somewhere in the 5th century, so more than 1,000 years ago. We will also have commentary from me, Bhante Varrapanyo. We will also have commentary from the Korean Son master or Zen master that wrote this book. These teachings are great and profound, infinitely subtle, and we can say that they are direct pointing to the human mind. They are direct pointing to the nature of the mind. And really, we are blessed, really blessed to be in this situation and to be in this this moment together. So we can carry that with us as we go through this wonderful reading. Let's begin. The mind is in fact the Buddha. There is no other Buddha and no other mind. And what is this mind? What is this experience that you're having now? Not chasing, not understanding, not grasping at something or someone or some place or some situation in particular, but the direct experience of this moment. What is that mind? Commentary. Do not generate discriminative thoughts, being tossed and turned by what you see and hear. If you realize the way, conviction will arise naturally, and you will let go of everything. So if you realize your true mind, your original mind, if you realize precisely what you are experiencing now as no other than peace and freedom, then conviction or dedication or devotion will arise naturally, and you will let go of everything. Everything. Ordinary people are always seeking something, even unconsciously. And so we use the expressions let go of or empty your mind provisionally. But if you work to empty what is inherently already empty, you will be very far from the training that realizes the true characteristics of things. So if you try to force yourself to meditate, if you try to force yourself to empty the mind or get rid of the problems that you have, you will be far from the training that realizes the true nature of things. The mind is, in fact, the Buddha. There is no other Buddha and no other mind. Commentary. Once you have a breakthrough in your training, you will be able to believe these words and leave things just as they are, whether things go your way or not. If you allow things to follow their own natural course, one day everything will be revealed accordingly. As time passes, things mature and naturally reveal themselves. If you have already recognized the original quiescence inherent in your mind, what else is there to be concerned about? So if you have already recognized the peace that is already in your mind, the space that is already in your mind, inherent in your mind, what else is there to be concerned about? What else is there to worry about, to fix, to solve? What else is there to do? Huangbo. This mind is bright and clear like empty space. It has not even the slightest mark or appearance. This mind is bright and clear like empty space. It has not even the slightest mark or appearance. So we may be able to digest this principle or this understanding, this theory of not having separate minds according to something like water. So you are mostly made of water, and this body is also made of water. So where is the difference there? Where is the difference in water? How much energy and how much effort must you go through going to the depths of the ocean, exploring it in places that it has never been explored, to see and to know that the ocean is water? So, Huangbo, the mind is bright and clear like empty space. And so what is it that is bright and clear like empty space? What is it that has not even the slightest mark or appearance? Commentary. Wise people awaken to the fact that the original mind is not separate from themselves and, without hesitation, stop wandering around. However, ignorant people perform meaningless tasks, swayed by the deluded mirages that emerge from within themselves. So what's not clear? What is not bright? Wise people awaken to the fact that the original mind is not separate from themselves, and without hesitation stop wandering around. However, ignorant people perform meaningless tasks, swayed by the deluded mirages that emerge from within themselves. Huangbo. Arousing your mind and starting to think deviates from the essence of the Dharma and creates an attachment to characteristics. Since time immemorial, no Buddhas have clung to characteristics. Arousing your mind and starting to think deviates from the essence of the Dharma and creates an attachment to characteristics. So is it difficult? Is it confusing? Is there a barrier or a boundary in this? Arousing your mind and starting to think deviates from the essence of the Dharma and creates an attachment to characteristics. Since time immemorial, no Buddhas have clung to characteristics, so our awakened nature does not cling to characteristics. Enlightened people do not cling to characteristics. Blue, yellow, black, white, bright, dark. Non-clinging. That doesn't mean they don't know how to use it. It certainly doesn't mean they go and bury their head in the toilet and start singing songs. I don't, you see a monk eating a sandwich and you say, "What are you doing here? You should be in the toilet singing a song, drinking the water from there." Right? Isn't that what monks are supposed to do? No. Using without attachment, experiencing without attachment, doing freely, doing without limitation of grasping. Commentary. The moment the ignorant arouse even a single thought, they become entrapped in the cycle of birth and death. So this is Buddhist teachings on rebirth. This is the real Buddhist teachings on karma, or at least from the Chan, from the Zen perspective. The moment the ignorant arouse even a single thought, they become entrapped. Don't be trapped. The moment the ignorant arouse even a single thought, they become entrapped in the cycle of birth and death. The cycle of grasping onto characteristics, good and bad, right and wrong, like and dislike, etc. Each and every thought that sentient beings have is the cycle of production and cessation, arising and passing away. Enveloped in ignorance, they lose the essence. Enveloped in the dream of grasping onto characteristics, bright, dark, good, bad, like, dislike, loud, quiet. Enveloped in ignorance, they lose the essence. This hasn't taken place in this lifetime alone. It has occurred in all previous lifetimes. So what is a lifetime? The moment the ignorant arouse even a single thought, they become entrapped in the cycle of birth and death. So rather than running around looking for lifetimes, why don't you stop arousing even a single thought? Sentient beings also mistakenly believe that if they train themselves properly, they can achieve whatever they want without any obstacles. This ignores causes and conditions. A floating ladle will move when the water moves and remain still when the water is still. If a certain result arises due to a corresponding cause, accept the flow of causality and allow yourself to go with that flow, just like that ladle. Bodhidharma spoke about this, the original founder of Zen, when he said, "Even though I do no wrong, even though I have taken the best care and lived in the right way, and at this moment I am perfect in actions of body, speech, and mind, disaster approaches me. Looking back, I recognize that for endless eons, I have acted out of desire, fear, hatred, delusion, greed. So now, although I do no wrong, I experience great difficulty, but I am not confused because it makes sense. A floating ladle will move when the water moves, and remain still when the water is still. If a certain result arises due to a corresponding cause, accept the flow of causality and allow yourself to go with that flow, just like that ladle. It means we let the dogs and the coyotes bark at the moon. That's their nature. We do not arouse even a single thought, so as not to become entrapped in this cycle of birth and death, so as not to be enveloped in ignorance, enveloped and binded by grasping onto various states of complicated thinking. Accept the flow of causality and allow yourself to go with that flow, just like that ladle. We cannot see the Buddhas if we look for the Buddhas in external appearances. We cannot see the truth if we look for the truth in external experiences. This is why is a problematic question. Because why is requesting an explanation of external experiences. Be like the ladle. Don't be like the whiner. Because when we look for the Buddha, or when we look for an explanation, or when we look for the truth in external experiences, we are sure to be enveloped in ignorance immediately. That is why the Chan teachers or the Zen teachers do not feed whiners. They stop, they cut, they finish. They bless. They bless with the ending and they bless with the finishing. And we can also practice like that. It is natural. We cannot see the Buddhas if we look for the Buddhas in external experiences. Just like empty space, this mind is clear, transparent, and formless. The samadhi of no thought, which nothing can sway, is the true appearance of the Buddhas. So the absorption, the natural state, the deep state of no thought, which nothing can sway, is the true appearance of the Buddhas. Because a Buddha has no external appearances, bear in mind that a Buddha neither discriminates between things nor treats all things as equivalent. So, not equal and not higher or lower. Not equal, not higher and lower. Because a Buddha, and we can also say because the truth has no external appearances, because the truth has no external appearances, bear in mind that the truth is neither based in discrimination between things, nor seeing all things as equivalent or equal to one another. The truth is not dualistic, just like and as simply and precisely and directly as just like a tree does not exist separate from the soil, the sun, the water, the entirety of everything. And that is what the Chan masters, and that is what we are concerned with here, as far as I can speak. Keep it in mind. This truth and this importance of this understanding is just as real and just as important as immediate death that can happen at any time to anyone. So there's no discussion about it or, well, no, you don't know. And that's great. Only don't know. It's death. It is the samurai. Okay? Huangbo. If you pursue Buddhahood by cultivating the 6 perfections and many different practices, this involves a sequence of practices. Since time immemorial, no Buddhas have followed a sequential approach. Commentary. The 6 perfections, or paramitas, are the practices of perfect generosity, morality, forbearance, effort, meditative absorption, and wisdom. And forbearance is that quality to endure, right? It is that quality to be out in the city or in the walk and have a dust storm blow into your face and breathe in richly. That dust, that difficulty, right? That forbearance to endure. So, Huangbo, if you pursue Buddhahood, if you pursue enlightenment, if you pursue peace, by cultivating the 6 perfections and myriad practices, many different kinds of practices, different types of meditation, etc., systems of development, this involves a sequence of practices. Since time immemorial, no Buddhas have followed a sequential approach, and we can also say that the truth does not rely on development. The truth does not rely on a step-by-step. It is immediate. Commentary. The 6 perfections, or paramitas, are the practices of perfect generosity, morality, forbearance, effort, meditative absorption, and wisdom. Becoming a Buddha by cultivating these 6 perfections suggests there are sequential steps in practice. Were that the case, then there would be distinctions between those who have cultivated all the perfections and those who have cultivated only some of them. This deviates from the mind of a Buddha, where there is nothing to cultivate because it is originally empty. Bringing back the tree again. It is not absurd to imply that one becomes a Buddha after mastering a set of arduous and difficult practices. But you should know, let's be clear about this. It is not absurd. It is not totally wrong. It is not ridiculous to imply that one becomes a Buddha or becomes enlightened or deals with their suffering after mastering a set of arduous and difficult practices. But you should know that such instructions are intended as expedients, are intended as upaya. The suitable way, the helpful way to take the poison out of the child's hand. Faith may be aroused in practitioners by outlining steps that lead upward to enlightenment, but such a teaching is simply a means to ensure they will realize their original Buddhahood, their original nature, by turning one thought around when the time is right. Okay, this is a really important principle to understand, especially with our community here, because some other Buddhist groups or meditation groups are focusing a lot on outlined steps of practice, right? Oh, you're here, you get an award, you get a certificate, but that is not what we're doing here. We're mainly informed by the true nature, the original mind. Tabarwa means original nature. Siyada Otamasara is also not creating steps and things like that. I don't follow those kind of teachers for the most part. I haven't had experiences in that, so we don't practice that way. I don't teach in that way. Let's go back. Huangbo. If you pursue Buddhahood by cultivating the 6 perfections of generosity, morality, forbearance, effort, deep meditation, and wisdom, this involves a sequence of practices or a sequence of development. Since time immemorial, no Buddhas, no awakened ones have followed a sequential approach. Becoming a Buddha or becoming enlightened by cultivating these 6 perfections suggests there are sequential steps in practice. Were that the case, then there would be distinctions between those who have cultivated all the perfections and those who have cultivated only some of them. Right? So if it was true or essential or original that there was this sequential development, right? Step by step, you go from here, you become that. There's a separation there. So were that the case, then there would be distinctions. We would have to have distinctions between those who have cultivated all the perfections of the Buddha and those who have cultivated only some of them, which would create this duality and this separation. And we already know that a tree is not a tree. A tree is everything. So if there were sequential steps, this would be wrong teaching and wrong view. This would be a self-view or a separation view. And this would deviate from the mind of a Buddha, where there is nothing to cultivate because it is originally empty. Just like we don't need to do any work, we don't need to do any science to know that a tree doesn't exist separate from everything. It's immediate. And this is also where we need to root out the mind of kind of, maybe we can say like common disregard. We don't value truth. We value explanations and interpretations and complicated thinking about things. But here we not only value truth, but we respect it, we revere it, we lift it up, we take refuge in it. So the nature of a tree, the nature of interbeing is everything. And it's very, very important. Now, it is not absurd to imply that one becomes a Buddha after mastering a set of arduous and difficult practices. But you should know that such instructions are intended as expedients or intended as helpful means, skillful means. Now, why are all these systems set up, all these steps, etc.? Maybe some of you have come across that. Faith. And this is a very important principle. If we don't have faith, we're not going to practice, and we're going to be very arrogant in our disregard for the Dharma and for the Buddha and for the Sangha if we don't have faith. We'll just constantly, that skeptical mind, what about this? What about that? Wah, 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 wah. Get out. So faith, this is why these instructions are there. Faith may be aroused in practitioners by outlining steps that lead upward to enlightenment. So by giving a structure, by giving a lattice for people to develop on, there are helpful ways and means that they can feel more faith, feel more trust in the practice. But, and this is very important to understand, but such a teaching is simply a means to ensure they will realize their original Buddhahood by turning one thought around when the time is right. So it is just the means to help them and to ensure and to support that when the time is right, they will see their nature. They will wake up. Not that they will have special spiritual powers or experiences or what have you. Huangbo. If you merely awaken to this one mind, there will not be the slightest dharma that you need to attain. For this one mind is in fact a genuine Buddha. If you merely awaken to this one mind, there will not be the slightest dharma that you need to attain. For this one mind is in fact a genuine Buddha. Commentary. Only those who practice Zen or Son. Really, for me, Zen is a little bit of a difficult word. But I know that many of us are familiar with that word. I encourage you to be aware of Son, which is the Korean word, and Chan, which is the more of the root, the closest to the root that we can get, Chan. Only those who practice Son can digest these words. However, these words do not apply to those not yet awakened. Unawakened people should first examine a huato, cultivation of doubt. Okay? What is this? Or meditative topic. Raise the sensation of doubt and break through the silver mountain and iron wall that are right before their eyes. So this is a really important point. Okay? So let's see this. Huangbo, if you merely awaken to this one mind, there will not be the slightest dharma that you need to attain. For this one mind is in fact a genuine Buddha. So if you can awaken to this one mind, and it's not just the direct experiencing, but it's to awaken to this direct experiencing, okay? Then there will not be the slightest dharma, not the slightest phenomena, not the slightest teaching, nothing that you need to attain. For this one mind is in fact a genuine Buddha. However, commentary, however, these words do not apply to those not yet awakened. And this is an important point because our intellect, our ego, our greed, our desire, our fear, our delusions will grasp onto this intellectual understanding of the truth, but our actions will not accord with it. And that is why these arduous and difficult practices, that's why these tests, that's why being a monk is important, that's why being in relationship with the Sangha is important. Because if you're serious about this, you will not limit yourself to just hanging out around the house, most likely. It will be more likely and certainly easier to appropriate the intellectual understanding of this teaching and then apply that to yourself. That is why unawakened people should first examine a huato. So what is this? Or who is meditating? Or what is my original nature? And we can see that when we come into these spaces and we get involved with the practice, we're really feeding a quality of sincerity and authenticity and depth, so that these questions become powerful. They don't become intellectual meandering. They don't become having a cake on a Tuesday. What is this? Like a fire burning through your mind. What is my original nature? Like you are speaking face to face with God Himself, herself. Should be non-binary. Even bodhisattvas are non-binary. So certainly God should be non-binary. I don't want a male God. So we use that authenticity, that sincerity to feel the sensitivity, the vulnerability inside of ourselves, to be inspired by these teachings, and then to practice arduous and difficult practices, great works, great good deeds, great meditation. We really get into it. And of course, you don't have to do anything. The fridge is always waiting. So, for those who are not yet awakened, they should first examine a huatou, such as what is this? What is the true nature of my life? Or a meditative topic, a contemplative topic, a meditative topic. Raise the sensation of doubt. And this is not skepticism, because skepticism is about external experiences. Skepticism is usually for whiners. Whiners are very skeptical. But here, this is a sensation of wonder, of great curiosity, of an energy that can help us break through appearances. What is this? What is the true price? And if you go to a shop, or you go to someone who's selling something, I mean, they might not even know the true price, right? How much did it cost to make this? And it goes into such subtlety, right? All these different variables. What's your best price? No, not the best price. What is the true price? What is this? And that is the energy of doubt, of wonder, of curiosity. You can see that that's not skepticism, right? That's not like trying to get a better deal. It's beyond that. It's deeper than that. Raise the sensation of doubt and break through the silver mountain and iron wall that are right before your eyes. And silver mountain and iron wall, we can say somewhere, some place, some person, some situation, etc. The created truths, our reliance upon the permanence of created truths. That this body will be alive in 30 seconds. Huangbo. Since Buddhas and sentient beings are the one mind, they are not different. Like empty space, that mind is free from admixture or deterioration. It is like the great orb of the sun that shines over all four quarters of the world. Admixture. Let's see here. Uh-huh. Mixing, mingling, mixing and mingling. Give me a moment while I pick up the pieces. Huangbo. Since Buddhas and sentient beings are the one mind, they are not different. Like empty space, that mind is free from mixing and mingling, just like space is free from mixing and mingling, or deterioration. It is like the great orb of the sun that shines over all four quarters of the world. Commentary. Because empty space is clear and transparent, there are neither separate quarters of north, south, east, and west, nor separate time periods of past, present, and future. Although empty space is originally formless, differently shaped clouds arise in it, in accordance with causes and conditions. So these clouds that arise are an aspect of causation. They arise according to cause and conditions. They do not exist as separate self-entities. Clinging onto them is being binded by delusion. You can use them, but in clinging onto them as being satisfactory, clinging onto them as being permanent, or clinging onto them as being having some kind of special, unique, or individual importance separate from everything. That is wrong. Always. Always wrong. And that's difficult because a lot of us want to be right. Is impermanence right? Because empty space is clear and transparent, there are neither separate quarters of north, south, east, and west, nor separate time periods of past, present, and future. Although empty space is originally formless, differently shaped clouds arise in it, in accordance with causes and conditions. If you become attached to those shapes, you will mistakenly believe that those differently shaped clouds are real entities. But if you know that they are mere shapes and not fixed entities, and you let go of your attachment, then that's it. Come and go freely. Arrival and departure without any fees. So in these appearances, mental appearances inside yourself, physical appearances in the body, experiences, social appearances, social dynamics, different people we encounter, it applies to everything. If you become attached to those shapes, you will mistakenly believe that those differently shaped clouds are real entities. But if you know that they are mere shapes, and not fixed entities, and you let go of your attachment, then that's it. And we've got to learn how to practice that. That's it. Free. Go to the fridge. Why are we so binded and tangled in clouds? Are we the doctor of the universe? Are we the great avengers protecting the world from Thanos? Even if we were, it would still apply. But if you know that they are mere shapes and not fixed entities, and you let go of your attachment, then that's it. Out of delusion, however, you cling to your attachment, even though there is originally no attachment to let go of. I tell you, just let it go. Huangbo. When the sun rises, its light shines over the entire world. but empty space has never been illuminated. When the sun sets, darkness pervades the entire world, but empty space has never been darkened. Commentary. Just as empty space is itself never illuminated or darkened, so too the mind has nothing to do with illumination or darkness. The mind has nothing to do with characteristics. In accordance with causes and conditions, when dawn comes, it gets light. When sunset comes, it gets dark. There is no need to try to sustain or become attached to brightness, because the mind encompasses both brightness and darkness while remaining unaffected by them. Huangbo. The realms of light and dark alternate, but the nature of empty space is expansive and invariable, unchanging. The minds of both Buddhas and sentient beings are also like this. Commentary with a quote from the Flower Garland Sutra. The Flower Garland Sutra says, the mind, the Buddha, and sentient beings, there is no distinction among these three. These three are given the names Buddha, sentient beings, and mind so that we may distinguish them. Those who are awakened never distinguish among identical things that have become entangled with one another. Although empty space accommodates differently shaped clouds, its original appearance has never changed. Although Buddhas and sentient beings cast different shadows, their essence is non-dual. It is a great and subtle matter, and it's helpful if we use the power of impermanence rather than getting stuck in the kind of interpersonal dialogue, or we're trying to figure things out. Actually, we just try to help, and we help from a place of generosity, not from a place of fixing. Even the greatest plumber in the world isn't going to different people's houses to deal with their problems, right? So this principle of space, or this principle of impermanence, it is like the law, the true law, the real law, the law of ever new impermanent nature. And the judge who holds this law is every phenomena. Every phenomena. Okay, Lisa, take care. Every single phenomena, mental experience, physical experience, little sensations when you rub your fingers together like this. Impermanence, impermanence. So this is the law that we can rely on. We cannot rely on created laws. We should know how to use them, and we should try to do our best, but we should remember the Vajra sword, the diamond rainbow prajna sword of wisdom, of insight, is always always. So this is the essence, is non-dual. Huangbo. Say one observes Buddhas as having the characteristics of purity, radiance, and liberation, or observes sentient beings as having the characteristics of foulness, darkness, and birth and death. One who generates such an understanding will not be able to attain bodhi, enlightenment, even after kalpas, eons, as numerous as the sands of the Ganges. Why? Because One is attached to characteristics. If you are attached to characteristics, you are wrong. Period. It doesn't mean you can't try to help. It doesn't mean you can't try to figure things out. But you are grasping. You are deluded. You are lost. This is why generosity is so much important. Because when we feel that anxiety, or when we feel that instability, that we're lost, we're stressed, we don't know what to do, actually that's very important to us. We're clinging to it, but we're clinging to it in a very subtle way. And so we don't know how to release that. We don't know how to give that away. And that's why, in a positive sense, we start in a positive sense with our precious things, our beads that we like to wear, our tea that we like to drink. Some things we can't give away, and that's the situation. Is that when that delusion comes up, when that anxiety comes up, when that attachment to characteristics comes up, we need the energy of detachment to deal with that. Otherwise, there will be a lot of problems. We will make a lot of mistake because we are doing with attachment. Huangbo. Say one observes Buddhas as having the characteristics of purity, radiance, and liberation, or observes sentient beings as having the characteristics of foulness, darkness, and birth and death. One who generates such an understanding will not be able to attain bodhi, enlightenment, freedom, peace, even after eons as numerous as the sands of the Ganges, because one is attached to characteristics. There is only this one mind. There is not another dharma, even as small as a mote of dust, to be attained, to be grasped onto, to be held onto, to be held up. There is only this one mind. There is not another dharma, even as small as a mote of dust, to be attained. The mind is the Buddha. Those who train in the way these days do not awaken to the essence of this mind. They then give rise to mental states overlaying this mind. Seek the Buddha externally and practice while being attached to characteristics. All these are harmful techniques, not the path to Bodhi. It's interesting. I have to say it's interesting how transparent and a lot of these transparent and accessible a lot of these teachings can be. It's kind of, you can receive it, you can hear it, you can experience it, right? And yet these are the most profound, subtle, ultimate spiritual teachings. This is the highest level of spiritual teaching as far as I'm concerned, really. And if you find something higher, send it along, because I want to know about it. And yet we can receive it. It can increase our faith, right? And then we can do these difficult and arduous practices. We can devote ourselves to a life of dana, sila, samadhi, and panya. We can walk the path because we are inspired. Commentary. And this will be our last commentary, so we can get all of you on your way. The difference between Buddhas and sentient beings is that those who attain awakening for themselves are Buddhas, while those who do not are sentient beings. The difference between the two is that simple. If people know that they are originally Buddhas, they will act like Buddhas. But because they presume they are ignorant, they become sentient beings who suffer and discriminate. People should be able to realize that this is it. By turning one thought around and letting go of all discriminative thoughts without any lingering attachment. And it is this immediacy, dear Sangha, dear friends, beloved ones, it is this immediacy that we are talking about here. And that is why when we go back in the record to this line from Huangbo, if you merely awaken to this one mind, there will not be the slightest dharma that you need to attain. You won't need to do anything. For this one mind is in fact a genuine Buddha. This is why the Son Master here said, only those who practice Son can digest these words. Immediate, sudden awakening, direct enlightenment. Just like the enlightenment of impermanence that is always happening immediately and instantaneously. One day you'll wake up dead. It happens just like that, instantaneously. And if we are not yet awakened, we don't cling to this phrase, to these teachings, to this text, because we attach to it. So we cannot experience it. We are not realizing it. We are grasping onto it. So we cannot cling to it, but rather it can inspire our faith, and then we keep doing the work. Dana, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Doing good deeds, being mindful, following precept, practicing meditation seriously. Commentary. The difference between Buddhas and sentient beings is that those who attain awakening for themselves are Buddhas, while those who do not are sentient beings. The difference between the two is that simple. If people know that they are originally Buddhas, they will act like Buddhas. And this is where the testing comes in, right? The Zen masters, the Chan masters, they are known to test each other. You know, oh, so you're a Buddha, you get it. Well, do you really? How about if I give you a kick? How about if I say something that's not completely nice? Right? That's why we're humble and we're respectful. We don't just say, oh, I'm a Buddha, something like that. Because we realize that we do get stuck, we do get attached. And then we respect people who can lead the way so that we can also attain enlightenment, so that we can also be at peace, right? Thich Nhat Hanh, Master Thai, says enlightenment is peace. He describes the Four Noble Truths as there is a lack of well-being. There's a cause for a lack of well-being. There is well-being, and there is a path to well-being. If people know that they are originally Buddhas, they will act like Buddhas. But because they presume they are ignorant, they become sentient beings who suffer and discriminate. People should be able to realize that this is it. By turning one thought around and letting go of all discriminative thoughts without any lingering attachment. Not knowing this, they become greedy, looking left and right. How could they not but lose their original mind? Wonderful. Okay, so Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Thank you, dear Master Huangbo, and the great record keeper Pei Zun, and of course this unknown, unnamed Son Master, who's this is a really wonderful commentary. So we've gotten through the first chapter, the first part, and we will start tomorrow on the second part, which says it's going to be about no mind. All right? So do your homework. That means become enlightened and come back here, and we will all be enlightened together, okay? Let's finish with sharing our abundance of merits so that we don't become greedy. So everyone welcome to unmute their microphones on Discord, and also if you are watching on YouTube, then you can also repeat after me and you can join us in the great celebration of our ending. All right. Yeah, please, everyone on Discord, unmute your microphone. Don't be shy, be brave. Wield the Vajra sword. Wield the diamond, crystal, rainbow sword of wisdom, prajna. Okay, so everyone can repeat after me. May all the merits that we have done till now
May all the merits that we've done till now
be dedicated and shared out towards all beings.
be dedicated and shared out to all beings.
May all beings not only receive, but also rejoice in our merits.
May all beings receive, but rejoice in our merits.
May it be,
May it be,
may it be,
may it be,
may it truly, truly be.
may it truly, truly be.
Sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu, sadhu.
sadhu.
Okay. Thank you, dear Sangha. See you tomorrow at same time.
All right.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.